Hello again everyone, and welcome to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. You are looking at the Necchi Supernova that I've been working on recently. I wanted to make a video today to show you guys, a couple of things. One, I want to basically show you how to install a new bobbin winder tire for this machine, and it's really not any more difficult than any other machine. I think the only part that takes a little bit longer is finding the right tire. So I'm going to open up. I had ordered this. I found the tire, I believe the right tire, online. This is not something that you would typically be able to pick up in, say, a local sewing supply store. You can always try, but it's typically this is one of those things that you would want to find online, and I was actually just happy to know that I could get it online. So we'll get the package opened here. It's an awful lot of packaging for a very small item because this is the only thing that I ordered. Let's see here. There are several places online. You can always look at places like eBay. Let's see where it actually is here. You can see me unwrapping it, and it is, I believe, in this little folded up piece of foam. I want to be extra careful that I don't damage this tire, given that I can't just go to a sewing shop and pick one up. But let's see, hopefully this is going to fit. Now, typically, and I'm going to show you guys the difference between this bobbin winder tire for the Necchi and what you will normally, you might be used to seeing when you're looking for winder tires for vintage sewing machines. I think we finally got down to the actual item here. Now, when you see these, you're going to see bobbin winder tires. A lot of them look just like little miniature black rubber tires, but the Necchi is a little different than what you might used to be seeing. I keep a supply of bobbin tires. These will typically fit everything from Japanese-made Kenmores and Japanese clones to Singer machines, right? And so they often look like this. They look like donuts. They come in different sizes. There's a large, medium, and small. This is an old one that I had. It's gray rubber. But basically they are very similar, not always in diameter, but in terms of their thickness. They look and feel very similar. You definitely want the right size for your machine. But the Necchi is even more different. I would say 90% of the time when I'm dealing with vintage machines, I can get a tire, either large, medium, or small, to fit my sewing machine that I'm working on. But Necchis, no. Now, some of the Necchis, I should back up, if you're dealing with, say, one of the BCJ models, the BU, original BU, the BU Novas, the BU Miras, you will often be able to use those more common tire standard sizes that I showed you guys. But when they went to the Supernova models, the folks at Necchi decided they were going to do something different. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the tire, per se. Let's get down here. You guys can see what I'm doing. But it is not the same shape, and it is a different circumference. And if you look at what I ordered and received, I believe that we're going to find out if this fits. I hope it does. It's flat, right? It looks almost like a rubber washer that old plumbing fixtures use. I don't know if any of you have ever tried that. Now, it's not very thick, but again, this is different. It's not round like a donut. It's more like a flat ring, and you really need this specific bobbin winder tire. And there, again, you can find them. In fact, I paid a lot more for shipping than I did for the tire. The tire was not that overpriced when you consider. Now I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to mount this, and hopefully we've got the right size that they sent. I'll know pretty quickly if I don't have the right one. So I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to, I don't necessarily need to move this, but I want to make sure that this is going to fit. I really hope that it does. Okay, if you guys, I think you can see this. I'll move the camera and give you a better view. Now, when I first looked at the tire, I thought, well, maybe it's not going to fit, right? I'll pull it off here again and show you. Because you look at it and you think, well, here's the hub of the little pulley there for the tire. But in fact, unlike some of them, this particular pulley has a fairly deep groove in it. And I'll zoom in, you guys can kind of get a feel for it. And if you look right here, you'll see it's actually very deep, deeper than most. So even though this might look smaller, it is in fact the right tire. Because if I can start, let's change the angle here for you guys. Let's make sure that you can actually get some sense of what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'll give you a little bit more of a... Now, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to pull the door out. That'll help. You can get someone to help you if you need to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down here. Some people would start at the top and pull it. I'm going to try to get underneath the tire. In fact, let's give you guys a little bit more light. A little concerned you're not going to be able to see this. I have daylight, but I'm working at kind of a weird angle here. Here, maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to take the tire, I'm going to start down here underneath and get my fat fingers out of the way here. And then as I try to sort of roll this around, I'm basically trying to hold it still at the bottom down here, where my finger is down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to hold it and then kind of just stretch it around the now I need to get this little lever out of my way. I'll pull it toward me here a little bit, and then I'm going, as I hold with my index finger down below, I'm going to kind of stretch it around the wheel. Now you'll feel the tension in it, but it should seat itself. Now if we turn back and get to get directly on this so you guys can see how it's lining up, you'll notice that it is in fact, let's make sure it is on there totally. And what I'm going to do is just simply roll the little winder pulley toward me, and as I do, I can kind of pinch my index finger and my thumb together just to make sure that it's, that it is that it's seated properly. I believe it is. Let's see here. Look, trying to spin this, and yeah, all the way around it is seated in the groove. Now, it may look a little off. It may not look totally straight and true, but I can tell it's in there. Now, I'm going to basically, another way to test your bobbin winder tire, make sure you've got the right size, is to try it out with with the winder. I don't have any thread hooked in here yet. I'll show that in a different video, but just to show you guys, if you're not sure, because remember there's a spring that's pulling this here this way, right? And then when you push in, it stores. It's a very complex and fairly expensive way to do a bobbin winder, but the Italians wanted it to look a certain way, and it is a gorgeous machine, one of the most beautiful machines, according to a lot of people online, not just my own aesthetic sensibilities here. So anyway, I'm going to pull down, and then I'm going to push down here, and then let this come up. And then when I'm done, I'm going to push and pull it back over, and it'll tuck away. So it tucks to the left of your hand wheel, but when you want to actually do winding, you want the wheel, it not only does it drop down, then it pivots over, and you want it to pivot over, and of course it's going to engage right with the hand wheel. Now, we should be okay. I don't see any grime here, and I'm trying to remember if I cleaned this, but just in case, I'll show you guys one thing you want to make sure of before you get your new bobbin winder tire going. So let me show you that little trick. If I can find my alcohol. Now, this is rubbing alcohol that I use for cleaning. When you use it to clean a hand wheel surface where the bobbin tire is going to go, you don't necessarily want to get alcohol on the bobbin tire, because the alcohol will end up degrading. It'll end up degrading the rubber. That's not something you want. Okay, so I've got my cotton swab here, and I have got my rubbing alcohol. I'm just going to moisten both ends of the cotton swab with the alcohol. Now, I want to get my bobbin winder free, so I'm going to hold the hand wheel like this. Back up a bit. I'm going to pull my clutch knob just a bit toward me, just to loosen it, and that's good. I'm not unscrewing it. I just want to disengage it. And when I do, you can see, even though I'm turning the hand wheel, the needle's not moving. Sometimes the needle will want to wiggle and hop a little bit, but it really should not engage when you're winding a bobbin, or you'll end up with a big mess. Okay, so now that we are in that position, I'm going to show you guys a little quick cleaning technique, but again, there's a caveat like there is to most things. You see this surface right here. Now I have my belt right there. So I want to clean this surface, but I don't want to get alcohol on the belt either. So we're going to just hold this down for a minute because it's going to want to come back. You need this open. You can also do this with the lid off, but this is just kind of a quick way to do it. And you'll see when I push the foot pedal, now I'm getting speed on the hand wheel. And I'm going to simply hold this cotton swab. Be really careful. You don't want it to get sucked down in there and jam up your machine. But I'm just going to lightly touch the hand wheel, not on the belt, but just right here. And what am I doing? I'm cleaning. It's not for aesthetic purposes, right? You can see stuff coming off here. What am I doing? I'm trying to ensure that there is not any old rubber residue, or especially sewing machine oil. We don't want any of that getting onto the new tire. So we want to make sure that this is clean. I'll do it once more. We should be okay. Again, it's not so much, gosh, am I getting all of the staining off? We're not polishing it. We just want to make sure it's clean, because anytime when things come together, such as a bobbin tire and a spinning hand wheel, if your hand wheel is dirty, it's got loose, grit, or get a little lint there, your cotton swabs will eventually, you want to watch them because they'll eventually start to shred. You don't want to get any cotton fibers down in there, but we should be fine here. Now, always clean your hand wheels. Your hand wheel is a pulley, and when I have machines taken apart, I'll clean that inside groove where the belt goes. But right now, we're going to come in here, and I'm going to test. What am I testing for? I want to make sure that this, let's get a little bit different angle here, that this bobbin winding tire is going to work. So watch this little pin here, where this is where the bobbin will go when we're going to start winding it. But let's take a look. Okay, you'll notice that the bobbin tire and the bobbin tire pulley are spinning. They're spinning freely. They're spinning good. It's not slipping, and it's not binding, because if it does, you're not going to get much bobbin winding going on. Okay, So again, the principle is the same. It uses a spring, and you engage the spring to apply tension to pull the tire toward the hand wheel. And all vintage sewing machine bobbin winders basically work the same way. It's just that the Italians went about a little bit fancier way to design one, and for reasons unknown to me, they chose their own special bobbin tire, bobbin winder tire. So I got this at, some of you may ask, what did I get here? So I got this online. You may find them different places. This came from a place called Millard Sewing Center. They're in Omaha, Nebraska. Likely a small business, which I like to try to use when I can. And one of the few places I found this. So I believe it's millardsewing.com. If you look down here below. And again, you may find them other places. I have no connection to that business or any of the others I order from, but anyway, there you go. So we've gotten the tire on. We've got the right tire, thankfully, and it seems to be working fine. It seems to be happy to, it looks like it's doing what it was engineered to do. Again, if you ever have a bobbin tire and it's not turning, or you're pressing the accelerator, even you can see your hand wheel moving, but something's not right, you could have oil or grease coming in between your tire and your hand wheel. You could also have issues with the spring, but overall they're fairly simple devices, and so I'm really pleased that that I did order the right tire. It does fit. Whenever you order anywhere, you want to look. Most places that sell items like this will have a list of machine, and they will often list the machine models that the something like this bobbin tire will fit. It's not enough that it says Necchi or Singer or any other brand. It's not just the brand. You've got to make sure that the models are on a list. If it's not listed, contact the seller and ask them, because you don't want to do that. This came from Nebraska, and again, the shipping itself was probably 3 or 4 times the cost of the tire. That may not be the same for you guys. You may be able to get a much lower shipping rate. Depends on where it's being shipped to, I suppose. It certainly doesn't weigh very much. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching this. We now have an installed bobbin tire. And next video, I will show you guys how we thread the bobbin winder and how you wind a bobbin on this beautiful 1950s Italian sewing machine. See you in the next video.